Well, it was so good seeing you personally, and I know that many of you have come a long distance. In fact, this might be a record for an O'Neill gathering. Two came from Oklahoma. Of course, they were just at a graduation, but it has been a treat for me to see everyone, to spend time together. We spent the early years together, and now that I'm at the 90th year, it's a special memory to see you personally. Lori comes to mind particularly. And this has been quite a while. Sheila's children came, three generations, including one that's starting to distinguish herself as a Fordham graduate. So this has been a marvelous time for me. It's a capper. I told you earlier that I've made a lot of moves. This is my last move, Florida. I've been here three times, in 1944 and 45, when I was met by a terrific hurricane, and then in 78 when I was single, and now with Susie and Kevin. It's a treat, and they're taking such good care of me. As you can see, I'm shrinking to nothing. I measured in at 167 this week, and when I arrived, it was 253. That's an 80-pound loss. I don't know anyone who's lost 80 pounds, and I did it with a smile, with actually good food and good care, and very smart control over the things that I need medically. So thank you all, and a good trip back, and the memories are going to hold for me for a long, long time. Thank you. I did. When I left New Jersey, I was 252 pounds. Today, I'm 167, the same weight I had when I was an officer candidate school. What a loss, 80 pounds, and no effort. I just eat my regular vegetarian food, a breakfast, which is basically nuts and grapes, and with one exception, the other meals are either salads or the green drink, which is an invention of Susie and a good one. And so I lost. It's got to be 80 pounds painlessly. I think that's a huge benefit. I've also regained my health. I had a medical condition known as venous insufficiency. And in one sentence, the problem is fluids that go down to your foot don't all return. Some exit through the legs, and I was pretty intensely treated for that in New Jersey, and it's gone away completely. So this has been a good move, health-wise, great company, and I must say I advise anyone to forego those winters in New England and get with the Southern movement. It is the way to go. So many of you have come a long distance. It's more fun when you come out of snow into Florida, but you've got pretty good weather there, and you've got very good weather here. I enjoy your company. I love all this effort, and I hope you can basically know and feel that I appreciate it. I'm proud of being the first O'Neill to get to the 90 barrier. I was doing some calculations recently. From age 90, rather from age 50 to 90 is a lot of years, and you've got to come into it with a lot of money, probably $1.5 million to have a satisfactory life from the point where people leave the corporate world, which is in their 50s, and going all the way to this distance. It's a something you know can happen. I'm the proof, and it's something you've got to prepare for. So thank you very much. You made me very happy and proud. And I hope these little tales of the early years is amusing at least. Love to you all. Back to the subject of consistency in careers. I tried to do that. At College of the Holy Cross, I was the advertising man of the year, and I spent a week in New York traveling through agencies who sponsored an award. And I hadn't targeted Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble went to 60 colleges and only hired 40 people. I was one of the 40 that year. So I was very pleased with that. So out to Cincinnati and spent my time on a new brand, which is a good place to be. And I got an offer from Vicks in New York. I wasn't a good match to Ohio, but I sure missed the New York area. I went back and joined Vic Chemical, or Vicks Products, the Kohl's Products company, and spent 9 years there. One of the things that, when you join that kind of a company, they are in the process of becoming more and more international, and people who are going to grow in that company successfully have international experience. So after about 6 years there, I was the assistant to the president, and he had to make a almost instant appointment to run Canada, which was the corporation's second largest profit center after France. And he appointed me. And I took the message home. I must say my wife at the time was not pleased, loved Connecticut. She was very successful in associations. But we went to Canada. And after 2.5 years in Canada, which is the normal tour, they gave me quite an honor. I was going to be the head of new products for Europe and Africa. But the job was in France. And to my surprise, my wife at the time basically wanted to get back to Connecticut, had enough of international living, and I had to turn down the spot. Well, that's not a career building step, it's the opposite. So from there I graduated into consulting and did that for a lot of companies, including some large ones. AT&T would be an example. The biggest effort was at AT&T, which involved basically advising them on how to migrate one of the largest mailings ever. The AT&T bill for telephones was coming into about 46 million households every month. And they were going to discontinue that. The president of AT&T lost his nerve and said, we'll divide into smaller companies. It won't be the large one company you're used to. So that responsibility went into the locals, of which there were approximately 20. I became, over time, probably one of the most experienced people in the country in sampling by mail. I worked with at least 10 companies. I used to claim that I have the unique position of working for Vic, Bic, and Schick all together. Schick being the razor company and Bic as the pen company. They were also going into the razor business.
She colored that just for you, Da.
Okay, we're show our picture.
Ooh, yay. Let me take a picture of you. Ready?
Dad, when you look back, what are you most proud of?
Well, I think I'm most proud of the tough parts of life. Getting through schools, a total of 3, joining 2 world-class companies, then having to improvise as a consultant for about 30 years. So basically challenge, opportunity, and to some extent success.
Awesome.
There's multiple generations. Missing Peter in the middle. What are we doing over there?
Apples and sugarcane. Apples
Obviously.
and sugarcane. We got some product from the garden, some orange.
We're eating oranges. Oranges from the garden. Da's over here exploring our 4 generations while Barrett and Susie play Macala. And Kevin is prepping sugarcane.
There he is, hiding.
La, la, la.
He's hiding, he's hiding.
And Daddy's running around auto parts stores.
Yep. Well, what are some of your favorite memories from raising your family?
Well, oddly enough, the one I remember so well is that famous lawn of ours in Wilton. It was almost 4 acres, and we had a power mower, big one, a rider. And one day, I was thinking about my future direction, and I had an idea on the mower that almost caused me to fall off. I was interested in campgrounds, but that was something that has already been done. And then I realized, a campground doesn't have to be a rental, it could be a condominium. I had just finished a book on New York real estate, and the ideas were in that. So out of it came my thrust into the leasing or condominium development across the Northeast. So that was a memorable one. And I also associated cutting grass with good times. So a little silly, but it's there.
How about the raising the family part? How about the kids, the cars, the things?
Well, Lisa moved right on pattern, very reliable. The 2 boys were challenges. They had other ideas of what's a good time and a good thing to do. So we had a little bit of a tug of war, and the parents didn't win everyone either. So it was basically 2 different directions. Lisa focused on academics and eventually chemistry, and then chemistry engineering. And the boys were still finding out what their primary place in life was and what they should be doing. They found out eventually. Well, it's an oddity, but I was commuting. I left the house at 7:30 and came home at 7. So this is the 5-day-a-week pattern. So the kids are actually either doing homework or getting into bed by the time I came in the driveway. So the weekends were the best opportunity. And that was a combination of things. I remember one of our neighbors had a small motorbike, and the boys got a lot of use out of that. And in fact, I think we eventually acquired it. So those are things that stood, the active part.
Oh, yes. Look at that. Can you figure this one out?
She wrote you a letter.
Oh, come here.
She doesn't want her picture taken, though.
It was fun seeing you. It's been a long time. It's our first visit, and we had a very good time. We're going back to Louisiana, where we're going to go into the swamps and play with all the animals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Say you and your great-granda.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I like that. Can I?
I want you to get in a picture. Will you do that? Show them. Work the camera. No, it's over
Well, that's
here.
there's one on that side too. Hi.
Okay, now we're going to smile. You have to smile. All these dolls here.
You're always in your underwear.
Yeah, they are, duh. How come you don't ever wear clothes anymore?
Okay, those two, Rogers and Buck O'Neill, are examples of doing one thing and doing it well. In the insurance business, Buck never varied, stayed with one company, and took it all the way until he turned it over to his successor.
What was the company name?
Royal Liverpool Group. They were active in casualty insurance, basically in commercial buildings. And I tried to research where they're located today. The company did move to North Carolina, but when 9/11 occurred in New York, they would not pay the claims because the policy said they don't pay claims in the case of a war. They said it was a war. The U.S. government says, oh no, that wasn't a war. That was just a action. And it forced them out of business. So they ceased. And if you had that insurance, you were out of luck. But it came to what I'd call a bitter end. Well, since then, I have found and believe that doing one thing and doing it well should be your lifetime goal. I thought I'd take this chance to talk a little bit about the O'Neills and their heritage. My reaching 90 years old is basically the high mark for longevity for the family. No one's made it to 90 before, and I'm proud to be one of them. Let me start by saying that I've been taking some time off to better understand the O'Neills. And the O'Neills are only 3/4 Irish. 1/4 is English, and very English. It seems that O'Neills like marrying English. I found in looking at it over 12 cases in which a marriage involved an Irish and an English. So we'll talk a little bit about how it all began. The English part is very deep. We came over at Plymouth Rock, and I think the year is 1640. It's the 20th year of Plymouth Rock. Moved to Connecticut and then on to upstate New York. The connection to the English side is on my father's mother, on Northrop. Northrop was a name that was pretty important during the Civil War. One of their relatives, Seward, who was Secretary of State to Lincoln, was a very active cabinet member and bought Alaska. So if you visit Alaska, you know you've reached one of his high points. Beyond Seward, we go all the way back to the Revolutionary War. One thing that's unique is we fought on both sides of the war. We have good credentials on the revolutionary side. In fact, all the women of the family who are in the bloodline are automatic members of the Daughters of the American Revolution. Lisa was offered a chance to become a member, but found their politics too abhorrent to join. But if you go to Washington, you see many of their buildings. And beyond that, beyond the Daughters of the American Revolution, we fought on both sides to the extent that one of our relatives was a Hessian, fought for the English against the revolutionaries, and retreated at the end of the war with his forces back to Germany. He comes from, I'll say, from Lorraine, along the Rhine River, close to the French border. He didn't like Germany much. And George Washington offered all of the Hessians, when they were here, a citizenship and 60 acres of land to any who'd stay in the country. He took that offer up and settled in the Hudson Valley. So there you have it. We have one side shooting at the other side, and we never knew that later they'd become relatives. Going beyond the war, on the northern side, my grandmother, whose nickname was Nona, was one of the first college graduates of an Ivy League school. Nona finished at Cornell. Her father was a land surveyor for Rockefeller. Rockefeller's fortune is based on the pipelines that he sent his oil throughout the United States, and particularly New York State. And he was the chief surveyor of all this and did that for his lifetime. Pretty successful.
What was Nona's last name?
Northrop was the
She was
family
Northrop?
name.
Okay.
She was a pioneering woman, kept stock records with daily trades, noted, a very active bridge player, was in a bridge club in New York City, and generally led a pretty fun-focused life. She had 4 children, 3 boys and 1 girl. Interesting, the family's trade was the insurance business. Buck O'Neill, my grandfather, started as a delivery boy in Manlius, New York, a little suburb short of Syracuse. And one day he was in the shop, and the coach of the prep school, a military school, the Manlius School, was there and said, "Buck, you're a pretty good sized guy. We're going to put a uniform on you and send you up to the playing fields and let my team push you around." Well, he put the uniform on, but he reversed the process. He pushed them around. He got a scholarship to the Manlius Military School, took that, and went on, and then got a scholarship to a near Ivy League school. Was the coach and the captain of that team. So at age 22, he left the campus and went to Colgate and was the varsity coach of their football team for 2 years. A bigger team north of them, Syracuse, liked what they saw and offered him the coach of Syracuse. But he was showing his early indications of being a good negotiator. When they offered him the team, they said, "Anything else?" And he said, "Yes, I want 2 seats in the law school, one for me and one for my brother." His brother went on to be a very successful lawyer in the power business, became the president of Niagara Mohawk. He stayed in football. I think he completed over 80 games, and his teams after Syracuse was Columbia. He left his law office in New York in Midtown and took the subway up to Columbia's football field and coached from there, and did that for years. Eventually, he swung into full-time legal work. He got a well-earned promotion as a VP of law.
This is Buck's brother or Buck himself?
This is Buck himself. We're still with Buck. His company was being bankrupt by a war that 2 taxi companies were having in Philadelphia. He insured one company and the other company was winning. So the president was so frustrated, he walked out of the door without even clearing his desk and gave up on it. The English board of directors in London appointed him the president. Well, this has been quite a treat. I love seeing all of you. You've been so near and dear all these years. Sometimes we spent a third of our life together. Sheila in particular came up from Savannah, or down from Savannah. And Lori, it was good to see. This has been a loving day and a capping experience for the years that I've enjoyed all of 90, and I think I've got a few more left. So we'll be in touch in many ways. Love you all. Thank you.
Dear Lord, good food, good God, let's eat. That was his
God
grace.
bless the
I
Irish.
knew it was going to be something funny like that. I just knew it.
Adios.